Hi, this is Father John Berry. I take you through this book, The Rocking Chair Prophet. You should have had time to read it by now. I waited 2 or 3 weeks since we gave it out before I put out this commentary, so you can kind of review the book with me. We gave it out through an evangelization program and a donor, and just the idea that people can do some quick reading, some spiritual reading. These books are designed to be read in a few days or less. Easy read, just a few, less than 100 pages, fast chapters. Matthew Kelly style. So if you understand his books, like Be the Best Person You Can Be kind of book, is a book about living in the virtuous life, right? And the happiness book he wrote was more about the Beatitudes. And so this book is going to also be in a spiritual category, but he stays away from theological jargon and just tries to stay down to earthy, man on the street kind of words and concepts. So this book here, we'll go over the first 3 chapters of Rocking Chair Prophet, a story about a guy named Daniel, as you've read by now. And Daniel's a Wall Street guy working feverishly during the week, looking forward to weekends with his wife and 2 girls. Comes home, and that first chapter, something devastating happens. He comes home to an empty house, and the reason why it's empty, his wife and kids have been in a car wreck out trying to get some things for him. And now Daniel's life is going to be without them suddenly, and it's going to hit him hard. As you read the 2nd and 3rd chapter of the book, you have him not being able to sleep and just being so anxious, and then he turns to just drinking himself into oblivion. People start coming by. His friend Javier comes by. God bless us if we have a friend like Javier in our life, or more than one, of somebody that will show up pretty quickly when things go bad for us and just be there to help us. And Javier is not there to be pushy. He's just there to be there. But Javier has a way of helping Daniel just face the fact that he needs to get some rest and get the house situation under control. And so next chapters, the guests are all arriving, including his parents, and nobody knows what to say. He doesn't know really even how to communicate. He's just distant from everybody, and he just can't believe it's all happened to him, and why, and will anyone ever be able to console me from this point on? So if it wasn't clear enough yet, the book here, The Rocking Chair Prophet, it starts with the death of this man's wife and 2 girls under 10, and he's having a hard time. And the main thing that the book is going to try to drive from this point on is having you deal with the word change. Is change a bad word for you? Is change a word you just want to avoid? You don't want to deal with change at all? Or do you realize that the Christian life is a conversion story and it involves dealing with change? Some things we can get control over, but not as much as we think. And some things, life has to take us some places rather than us be in the driver holding the steering wheel the whole time. And what do? We learn. We live and learn. The funeral opening is in a number of famous movies and books. I think my favorite one would be The Big Chill, a 1983 film. The end of college, I remember seeing that when I was graduating from a radio TV background, watched a lot of films in those days. And I like the way that it opens up with their friend Alex dies, and a bunch of people have gathered. All his old friends have gathered in a house for the weekend, and they're going to try to process the death of Alex, but first they really don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the friend that committed suicide. And also, they're different people than they used to be when they were idealists and partiers, and now they, down the road in their life, they're looking at it, and they're not all very happy about what they see with each other. And there's a particular character, William Hurt plays this in the film. He plays a guy named Nick, and he sees too much of Alex's life in his own. He feels like he's on a dead-end street going nowhere, not a lot of meaning. Why am I alive? What's the meaning of things? And the pointlessness of the world. You chase after things in the world, and it doesn't really deliver the goods. And so I think that story, The Big Chill, as they're starting to go through changes, you can hear songs coming on, like Too Proud to Beg, this kitchen scene where they're all kind of opening up a bit to each other, and another scene at the end, and the Joy of the World, Three Dog Night plays to close the film, and there's a bit of joy in some people opening up and being true about themselves. And I think especially the character Nick, I remember Kevin Kline, I think, was the character that really got more of the attention in that film, but each of the characters had some development in their lives and willing to change or be changed by this event. Others, you can see, they're going to walk away and just not deal with it. So then it comes the funeral chapter, and people are gathered, and what's to be said. And he's living a lot of regrets now that he didn't have as much time to spend with his family that he really ought to have had, and now it's not there for him. He begins to just feel the need to escape, to just get away, to go away, to be alone. He wants to suffer alone. He just wants to be alone and get away. Behind me is the office, the Keffer Center there. I'm sitting in my car. It's Confession Friday. It's one of those snowy days, bad weather days, so nobody's coming. So like I did during the St. Joseph series, when I have a break, I make a video. So I'm making this video for you right now. And let's just think now. This book really just starts off rough, doesn't it? I mean, do we really want a story about a guy whose family all die in a car wreck? Do we really want that? Why does Matthew Kelly, who seems to like to write things that are a little bit more cheery, why is he writing, this? And I think that's probably the point of this book, is to go to an uncomfortable subject. Life has lots of things uncomfortable, and are we going to avoid them? Are we going to dodge them? Are we going to dismiss them, minimize them? And what about the pain in our life? And what are we going to do about that? So I don't particularly like the way the book started. It's not comfortable. So it's jarring. And it reminds me of the parables and the series we've done in the parish the past year, for those in the Bible studies with me, and also the parables in some of the homilies in the past year with Matthew's Gospel. And a lot of the parables have something that's uncomfortable or off, or make you say, wait a second, let me get this right. So I think that's the style of this book. It's trying to kind of hit us at first, get us off kilter, get us a little off with Daniel, fleeing away in our pain. That's what I think is going on here. And what are the spiritual messages then for a person that's there?
There's just a little bit of flurries there going by. Quiet Friday night.